Hi students, how are you? This is lecture number 3, and in this lecture I will advise you that how do you calculate uh, the variables which are provided in the statement of financial position. So let's have a look at question number 3.3. It says, question number 3.3, yes, it says the profit earned by a business in 2007 was $72,500. The proprietor injected new capital of $8,000 during the year and withdrew goods for his private use, which had a cost of $2,200. If the net assets at the beginning of 2007 were $101,700, what were the closing net assets? So this is very, very important question as far as the examination is concerned. And I will advise you that how will you calculate that one. Okay, remember one thing, the term net assets means the capital. You must understand this term. Net assets is equal to capital. Why do we do that? Because as we know that the definition of capital, which is provided in IASB framework, is that if you subtract all your liabilities from all your assets, you will get the equity, or what we call capital. So in fact, if you subtract all your liabilities from all your assets, you will be left with net assets. So that is why we called capital as net assets. So in this question, you can easily see that we are provided with the opening net assets. So we are just, writing the data which is given in the question. It is 101,700. Obviously, these figures are in dollars. And then you can easily see that the profit for the year is provided in the question, which is 72,500. This question is extremely important. Okay, so this question can be asked in the examination, and you just given some other figures by using the same scenario to calculate the closing net assets. Then we have fresh capital in this question, which is $8,000, and we have drawings, which is 2,200. And this question is asking us to calculate the net closing assets, or closing net assets. I should write here closing net assets. Okay, so remember, this net assets is nothing but capital. This will be opening capital, and this will be closing capital. Okay. So how do we proceed? As you know that in the balance sheet, when we draw the balance sheet, how do we find out the equity? If you remember, how do we calculate the equity? We will consider the opening capital first, which is in the beginning of the year. So in this question, it is $101,700. Right. Okay. Then we add our profit into it, because we have learned this thing that we always add our profit in the calculation of the equity, right? So we subtract drawings, and in this question we have 2200 as drawings. And remember, we always add our fresh capital because this is what we inject during the year. So 8,000 is the fresh capital in this question. So finally, we are done with this question. Sorry. And our closing capital will be opening capital plus profit less drawings plus fresh capital. So it will be $180,000. $180,000. So if you look at the question, the right option is D. So that is how you can be asked to calculate the closing net assets. So students, you can repeat this video again and again, and you can easily watch how did I calculate the closing capital or closing net assets. Okay, in the next question, which is 3.4, again, it is extremely important. I would advise you that 3.3 and 3.4 are extremely important questions. It can be frequently asked in the examination, so you must be prepared with these questions. Okay. Now we have 3.4, and if you look at this question, it says okay that we have profit during the year, $sign. Okay, profit for the year, which is 35,400. Then we have fresh capital. As you can see in the question, it says that the proprietor injected new capital, which is 10,200. And during the year, the drawings were 500 monthly. So how many months in a year? 12 months. So what you will do, you will multiply 500 with 12. This is very, very important. I will repeat it again because in this question, it says the drawings are given on monthly basis, 500 per month. So we will multiply it by 12, we get 6,000. Then we have closing net assets, and we have already discussed that net assets are basically our capital. So it is given $95,100, and finally it is asking to find out the opening net assets. So here we get the question mark. Okay. Now, what is the difference basically in this question and the previous question? The difference is that in the previous question, opening net assets were given, as you can see here, and we were required to find out the closing net assets. And this question, it has provided the closing net assets, and it is asking us to calculate the opening net assets. And the second variation which you can find in this question is that they have provided monthly drawings, and once we multiply the drawings with the 12 months, we will get the yearly drawings. Okay, so we are calculating the opening capital, and we will use the head which is called equity. Okay, equity. Now you must be very vigilant. As you know, we have opening capital in the beginning, then we add profit, then we less drawings, then we add fresh capital, and then we are provided with finally with the closing capital. Yes, closing capital. So do not get confused with net assets and capital. Both terminologies are interrelated and interchangeable. So here we'll put all the values. So closing net assets are given, which are basically 95,100. Fresh capital is 10,200. drawings we have 6,000 and profit we have 35,400. So how would you find out the opening capital? You will do the reverse order technique. Okay, so remember, you will consider this fresh capital, then you subtract, you will consider first of all the closing net assets, then you will subtract the fresh capital, you will add the drawings, and you will subtract the profit. So you must be noticing that as we are going to the reverse order, so we will reverse all the signs. And we have 55,500, which is option B. So extremely important question. Students, you have to analyze this again, because what is the difference between this question and 3.3 and 3.2, I think. 3.3 and 3.4. Because in 3.3, we are following the same sequence. So we are adding the profit into the opening capital. We are subtracting the drawings from the opening capital, and we are also adding the fresh capital in the opening capital, and we arrive at closing capital. But here, the closing capital is given in the question. Sorry. So when we need to find out the opening capital, we will go reverse order. So you will subtract your fresh capital from closing capital, you will add your drawings into closing capital, and you will subtract your profit from closing capital, and then you arrive at opening capital. So these two questions are extremely important. I would advise you guys to memorize how do we solve this question, because these questions are extremely important from examination point of view. So take care of yourself. This was lecture 3, and do wait for another videos, because we need to cover IS2 inventories and IS16 property, plant and equipment. So I hope that I will publish those videos in the next week, next Sunday. So see you then. Thank you very much.